According to a fashion blog, there is an overlap between fashion and style, but the distinction is that style relates to individual, while fashion is more collective. On this episode of Let's Talk, we will be breaking down the differences and how fashion impacts our self-esteem. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Olujo Kemosako with the topic Fashion and Style. Here with me is Mr. James Akinyemi, a personal stylist and image consultant. But before we go deep into our discussion today, I would like to remind you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Please stay with us. Thank you so much, Mr. James Akinyemi, the James Akinyemi. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. It's a pleasure talking to you about style and personality of an English gentleman.
Okay, so as a personal stylist, how would you define fashion and style?
Well, basically, I'll tell you, style has never been about what you wear, or at least not entirely. Style is an attitude. It's a confidence. It's being pose and personality. The most stylish gentleman. It doesn't have to drape in labels, but a man who can turn it simply has to know how to tailor his clothes and be stylish, to be simple and be comfortable in what you wear. So basically, that is what I call style.
All right, so what makes style and fashion?
Phase, I've had like 4 to 5 years experience being an image consultant in Savile Row. Savile Row is known from all over the world as the best place in the world to get tailored suits, to get image for menswear, and style is basically different from fashion. Style is elegant, is classic, while fashion has to do with maybe patterns and kind of display of colors. But when we talk about style, style is something that is personal. It has to be simple and elegant. So basically, style and fashion they are basically two different things. But once you stick with style, you'll be able to present yourself, because basically people've got two different personality. People've got personality on how to dress. When you work in the corporate world, when you work in fashion, when you work in TV, there's a certain way you have to present yourself. When you work in a bank, there's a certain way you have to present yourself. So that is what I call style. So if you work in a bank setting, you work in a financial setting like the world, or you work in a bank setting, you have to know you wear like nice tailored suits, which is mostly dark navy, charcoal. That is what they call style. That is a standard style. So when it comes to fashion, it's a different whole thing. Fashion has to do with maybe runways where you have different pattern of colors and things put together. So that's what I call fashion.
Wow, that's really a nice way to actually break it down. So many of us actually wouldn't know the differences because we feel everything is in between, like they're very close, kind of. All right, moving on to the next direct question. I would like you to explain how relevant is people's outlook to image buildings in this time and age. You know, you are a personal stylist. Now, for people to come to you, there must be something very important when it comes to your outlook.
Yeah, basically, I think everyone needs an image consultant, and mostly people tend to think, oh, it's only wealthy or rich people who tend to hire image consultants. No, that's not the case. An image consultant is somebody who has to look at your kind of portfolio, look at what you do for a living, attempt to like put down colors for you and try to arrange your day-to-day life. And in the past years, I've worked with a lot of high-profile clientele, and I've been able to build my portfolio to understand what an image consultant had to do to like make their clientele to achieve their aim of their image. So basically, the image is one of the first thing people tend to to see a figure or a politician or somebody in the government taste of how you dress and how you present yourself. I've had various experience meeting a lot of high profile clientele, and then I've been able to understand their style and personality, and these have built up my experience to understand that your style is one of the first things people see when they tend to perceive you. And when you're walking into a room, your style has to show your presence where you can take over the room, especially when you're a public speaker or a pastor. And there's so much stigma around it sometimes when you dress so smart among ethnic minorities, especially Nigerians. They tend to, like, when you wear a suit all the time, they tend to perceive you as a pastor. Like, they say, oh, that guy is a pastor. That's why he wears a suit all the time. No, that's not the case. A gentleman should always be dressed in a suit. A gentleman should have a few collection of suits. A gentleman should have a blazer. A gentleman should wear a pair of chinos. These are like certain things that a gentleman has to have. And when you get to a certain age, you have to know how to present yourself and how to build your style and how to present yourself to the world.
You style women too, so why did you not mention women when you're talking about a
I did
gentleman?
study. I did study personal styling in women's at the London Fashion School, and I intend to know more about menswear, and that was why I got into Savile. And then I had to be in one of the most famous places in the world, which is number one, Savile. Women is a thing that has to do with class and elegance, and studying personal styling in women's at the London Fashion School gave me a lot of experience to know about women's dressing. So that was where I learned about body shape. I learned about bags. I learned about the blending of colors. I believe every woman loves a bag. So you have to know the kind of bag, the shape, and what's most important, you have to know your body shape. The kind of suit, the kind of dresses that fit your body shape, or like the kind of colors you have to blend with your colors. So that's what's important about the women's style, like basically how to know how to blend colors, how to know the appropriate dresses to wear for an event. If you're going for a job interview, what you have to wear. If you're in a corporate setting, if you're going for a black tie, what you have to wear. There's so much eccentrics around all these things. And that's why most times you find out that most people hire an image consultant to do all these hard jobs for them.
Hmm. And in this time and age, basically everything we do, we need to learn about it. There was a time that such a thing like a personal stylist or personal shopper wasn't in vogue, but it's something that is actually a very lucrative business now. I want us to quickly go on this break, and when we come back, we continue from there. Please stay with us. The program is Let's Talk, and I have been discussing with Mr. James Akinyemi. He is a personal stylist and image consultant. And the topic has been fashion and style. We really can't overflog fashion and style because it's something that has to do with our daily living. And you wouldn't want to be left out of what is in vogue or the fashion trend or how to represent yourself. So stay with us. Thank you so much, Mr. James, for standing by.
Thank you.
Now, is fashion expensive? Why do we need to dress expensive or hire a personal shopper or personal stylist, as you call it?
Well, basically, what I know about style and fashion being expensive, most, as we said before, it's all of different things, and it's all placed in different categories. The mindset of it, like, you don't actually need to dress expensive. You don't actually have to look expensive to actually have a style, or like to have labels, to wear designer clothes. What you have to do is you have to wear fitted clothes. You have to wear clothes that are tailored to your body shape and things like that. But what's important is, like, you have to have a class. When you have a class, and that's intent to, like, make your clothing's more valuable for you. They tend to last longer. Like most importantly, they say, it's the formal saying that they say cheap shoes ruin up a good suit. So obviously, if you wear good quality items, that keeps you genuine. Yeah? People tend to perceive you as a person of high intellect when they see the kind of wristwatch you wear, or when most of the times it comes with the lady, when you see the kind of bags she wears, the quality in it, you see the leather, the ostrich leather. There are so much things tied to it. And as well when it comes to a man's suit, when you're wearing the Savile suit, Savile is known for where the most famous people in the world, presidents, celebrities come to shop and get a nice suit. So basically, but I wouldn't say to you that you have to spend so much money. An average suit on Savile is about £1,000, and it goes up to like £5,000 when you're having bespoke, so you can always spend up to like 10 to 40,000 pounds getting a nice suit. But that's not the basic. The basic is just having your clothes tailored, fitted, having you to wear the right size. So that's why most times people need an image consultant to kind of like get into their wardrobe, to create a style for them, to know their actual size. Most people and is going for a business meeting or going to get a contract, they might be perceived as being sloppy when you see him, when he's not wearing the right size of jacket, and probably you'll be like, oh, I don't think this is the person I'm going to give this job to. But when you come into the presence of a room wearing a nice tailored suit, it might not be expensive, but if it's tailored and in your right size, stays around your body, then obviously why they give you the job. So the image is the first thing people see. So I think it's not about spending a lot of money on high luxury items before you can actually do good.
In other words, fashion, high style fashion, is actually meant for those who can actually spend the money, right?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
when you talk about high fashion, fashion is basically a different thing. This is high fashion has to do with couture, it has to do with bespoke. These are where you make ready-made garments. So this has to do with a lot of class and elegance, whereby people tend to spend so much money on high-profile labels. But it's something when you can afford. Like obviously, when you talk about the Duchess of Cambridge, I've been privileged to have met her once, and Kate Middleton is somebody who has a lot of class and elegance. When you talk about the royal family, a lot of class and elegance on how they dress. Kate Middleton wears Alexander McQueen all the time. This is a detailed thing for her. And when you see the quality of these things, they are all bespoke. They are things that are made especially for her. But now it's all versatile. They are all designers. They are small going designers everywhere, Nigeria, all over the world, who kind of like make garments for people. My friend Tony Lawani as well, which is one of the most famous fashion designer in Nigeria as well. She does amazing pieces. She does amazing pieces. So it's you have to have a budget. She has a standard. They make tailored clothes for you, and when you're going for a wedding or you're going for a black tie event, you tend to, when you want to stand out, then you have to go for couture. Couture is something when they have made something specifically made for you, which is different. That's kind of like a bespoke dress where the garment is made from the scratch. So it comes to a level as you go on in life, depending on your income and everything and how you present yourself to the public. Then you can go into high fashion, which is horticulture, where you have specially garments made for you. Like on Sabo Road, they've got three classes of suits. You have the ready to wear, you have the made to measure, and you have the bespoke. The made to measure is like an intermediary between the bespoke and the ready to wear. The ready to wear is an entry level where you just get into the store and pick up the suit, and that can be tailored into your garments. Whereby the made to measure is something they use the block of the ready to wear and they measure you. And these things take about 8 to 10 weeks to have it made. But when you talk about bespoke, a lot of wealthy people tend to go for bespoke items based on how their body structure is. Horticulture, high fashion is when garments are made from the scratch. And basically it has to take time and measurement, but you must be able to afford these items. And that's why we are all working to make so much money. And I love to have a bespoke suit. You love to have a bespoke dress. I guess I made that soon.
Okay. I would want to. I'm actually going to get into that. You're going to tell us your experience about your clients, how you were able to actually satisfy your clients, or what are the things that you experienced on the job? And at the same time, you're going to give us a brief about building one's image and what to look out for while doing it.
Being an image consultant is basically a very is an interesting job, to be honest to you. Like you have to have the passion for it, and sometimes people say you have to learn it, or I think it has to be with passion. You have to have a passion for your image, of taking care of yourself, because being an image consultant, it has to go with everything: your personality, how you present yourself, how you communicate. Because when you're working with high profile clientele, there's a certain way you have to talk to them. There's a way you have to do high contact and things like that. It's a lot of experience, but along the line, you tend to meet all these people and you tend to understand how you present yourself. Because when you're working with high profile clientele, they're spending a huge lot of money. Can imagine somebody spending up to like 60 to 40,000 pounds on a pair of suits, or like doing a certain amount of shopping. Then you have to know how to present, you have to know about the fabric, have to know about the clothes, you have to have detailed information about all these things. So I think along the line, if anyone who wants to go into image consultants, it has to be a passionate thing. It's something you have to genuinely love. You have to know how to take care of people. And now that the social media is out there, it's quite easy. You can go on a blog and look at influencers. You can see how people do present themselves, and you can learn from styles from all these places.
Hmm. So now, what are we looking out for?
Well, basically, if you're looking out to be an image consultant, there are lots of places where you can actually go now. There are schools, there are fashion industries, there are entrepreneurs who have actually created schools for people to understand what it is to be an image consultant. It's like you have to learn the basic skills, know about tailoring as well, which is more an important skill you have to learn because I do tailoring as well. I'm not a tailor, but I'm like an intermediary between the client and the tailor. You have to know how to take measurements. You have to know about. I've actually got to measure a lady, when she was having a bespoke dress made for one of my fashion designer friend, and I had to go take the measurement. So you have to know the bust size, you know how to take the central line body, the neck, and these are like basic skills you need to have, and you need to learn along the line. You get used to it and know how to present yourself when you're talking to a client, especially when it's an high profile client. They tend to expect you to know about all these things. Or you're going to shop for a lady's bag, then you have to know about ostrich leather, you have to know about alligator leather. Those are like basic things. There are lots of people who spend up to like 10 to 20 to 40,000 pounds on luxury bags and harrods, and they tend to like get in touch with you and say, "Oh, we'd like you to get this." These are the things you need to study, because there's always a detail to every luxury item, and that is why there's the luxury in it. There's always a detail. There's something that is making that item expensive. Is it either the fabric, or either the cloth that's been used to make the cloth, or the stitching? So those are all the basic things you need to be aware about when you're presenting to a client, or a client who wants a Rolex wristwatch. They're basically things you have to know about a Rolex wristwatch. Why is it that expensive? Is it made with diamonds? Is it made with gold? So along the line, these are like detailed things you need to know as an image consultant. You need to know the high profile things that these kind of clientele use, and get yourself accustomed to it.
Mm, thank you for that. Recently, I saw a video of you and Toyin Lawani discussing a material that she did.
Well, I would say Tony Lawani is I would say, is one of the most elegant, or I normally do compare her to Alexander McQueen, and then the famous British fashion designer, because you can never put Tony Lawani in a box, because Tony Lawani is known for creating masterpieces, and that is what she does. In the past years, she's done a lot of elegant and classy dresses, things that you can see that is meant to be in the fashion museum. Toyin Lawani is so elegant, that she's so creative, that you can never know where she's coming from. But I believe that fashion is an art.
Okay, I'm going to ask you further. Permit me to cut you there. Now you said it's an art. Let's look at all those portraits too that we go to gallery to watch, to look at, and people breaking it down. And art is actually very, very broad. That there is no direct way to the answer. Even though at the end of the day, you're going to get to know what the what is in the mind of the artist, or I mean the artist, or the creative person. Now, in this instance, would you relate what you guys were doing the other day to going to a gallery and discussing an artwork?
Yeah, as I said to you, talking about an artwork, fashion is an art. So you have to understand the nutrition of how these things come around. When you see a dress that's come with ostrich feather, those are the intricacies of fashion. Something like lifestyle, So it depends on the area or the field or whatever you do. When you can actually put yourself in a place of a particular thing you have to purchase or an item you need. For example, your style is different from my style. Your style is different from your friend's style. People have different styles, and the reason why they wear certain things. So when it comes to fashion has to be simple. To show the elegance, it has to be simple. It has to be classy. You have to find something interesting that makes you wear it. I tend to when they send you an invitation that this is a black tie event and you intentionally you're going to wear a native attire. No, there is always rudiments to fashion. Fashion has boundaries, but sometimes people tend to like break the boundaries. But when you're breaking the boundaries, you always make it classy and simple. So you have to know the boundaries before you break it.
Okay. Do you have any final word?
Well, I would just want to thank you once and foremost, like for inviting me to your show, and I would like to talk more about this particular item as we live in a new world now, where we know that we all have to be safe, and as the moment where people don't even actually dress up, there are no parties, it's a bit challenging at the moment, but we all have to be happy as much as we're living in this new world we have now, and then we have to know how to dress up and keep ourselves tidy. So I would like to encourage anybody out there who's chasing their dreams and who intend to go into fashion to keep it up, and to get any other skills, be it tailoring skills, and get a degree or something in fashion. You don't even basically to actually have a degree to go into fashion, but well, is that you just have to have the passion and you have to learn. If you want to know how to sew, you have to know, go into the industry to learn how to sew and to put things together. So I think everybody out there should tend to like find out what they're interested in. And if you love fashion, you want to be a fashion designer, you want to be a photographer, you want to be a dressmaker, you want to be a shoemaker, you want to do anything that has to do with skills or style, then you go for it, because there's there's a whole lot of opportunity.
Thank you so, so much. Really appreciate your time. Thank you. And to you out there, I would like to thank you too for standing by to actually for taking your time, I beg your pardon, to watch this program. And I hope it has impacted you a lot. But before I leave, I would like to remind you of one very important thing that he said at the last while he was rounding up, that fashion has to be simple but elegant. He also said that know the boundaries and break it. That is actually what we need to do. Not You don't need to spend too much, but do your best to be the best. See you next time.